And good evening. Welcome to another edition of Coach's Corner here on the Highlander Activity Network on this Wednesday night. And to start things off, we're going to talk robotics. Valley City Robotics has had a very, very successful season thus far and added a third team with the elementary. We're going to talk about that coming up in a moment. But we are joined by Annette Beatty and Kellen Westman. Kellen with the high school team and Annette. I want to say Andrea. Annette, how many years have I been talking to you now?
Well,
long time.
Yeah, this is in my 7th year, so
I was gonna
yeah,
say, it's
so
been
7
years.
Yeah.
But let's start off with just the season in general, how successful this has been for Valley City Robotics at all levels.
Yeah, it is. It's been a very exciting year. We started an elementary program this year. Jess Enstead is running that. I've been sending her and Chad Leake pictures of VEX IQ with elementary for years, saying we got to do this, but always finding money. That's always the issue, right? Well, Jess has found some money, so they started elementary and they have been just really rocking it. It's been fantastic. Our middle school program is doing great, bringing home trophies, and then our high school program is doing really well too, making it to the championship round quite a few times, placing high in skills. So yeah, it's really been an exciting year for us.
When you talked about the three levels and the number of players, I think there's roughly overall between the three around 35 or so students involved. That's a pretty good number, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's a great number, especially looking at the amount of kids that are involved in all different extracurriculars. I think robotics is one of the top ones. So.
And you mentioned elementary, 14 students, I think, at the elementary level.
Yes.
Were you surprised at two questions? Number one, the response, and number two, how successful they've been in their first year?
Yes, I mean, I was super happy to see there was 14 kids that signed up, and then just floored of how well they're doing. They've been beating, taking home the championship trophy when it's elementary and middle school combined. So I mean, there's really some rock stars down there in elementary. It'll be great to have them hopefully stick through the program and work their way up all the way through high school. And so that's kind of the really neat part about elementary starting. It's just going to build. They're going to be that much further ahead once they go into the junior high program and then again into the high school program. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
That 5th and 6th grade, or how far down does it go?
4th, 5th, 6th.
4th, 5th, and 6th.
Yep.
So it does go 4th, 5th, and 6th. So they could go 3 years in elementary and then right into junior high. They could be doing it for 7 years if they stick with it. That'd be pretty good. Well, Kellen, how many years have you been doing robotics now?
So this is my 2nd year of VEX Robotics, which is the varsity, and then I did 2 years of VEX IQ starting in 7th grade. And then, I kind of got interested because my first year I joined because a friend asked me to, and it started to become pretty fun. And then we got to that state meet, which was the only meet we had that year because there was a lot of COVID complications.
Yeah.
So we got to that state meet, and we took home state. So then I decided to go back the next year. We switched teams up because that friend moved away. And then we won state again with the new team. So then we were kind of hooked. All of us, 7 that are in there. It was 6. We picked up a new one this year. So the 7 of us that were in there, now we're all pretty hooked, and we're having a lot of fun in robotics this year and the last year too. So.
Well, you mentioned two state championships. You look at the banners that are hanging in the hack. It's been a successful program over the years, and Annette can attest to this. But you've been part of 2 state champs. Is that something too that really keeps you going? As you want to keep that trend and keep the robotics Valley City name high in robotics?
Yeah. Well, we the teams that we have in there followed a really, really successful VEX Robotics team that left in our 7th grade year. That was their last year. So
that's our Bob's Little Builders. People that'll know that name.
We had to follow them up, so that was a big step. Last year we ran into a lot of challenges. We got 3rd at state, so we were pretty happy with that. Both teams did. We teamed up, and then this year, one team has run into a few more challenges than the other, but we're working through it. And come that state meet, we should be pretty close to in the same spot. We're looking for that. So. You
guys have tore down your robot and rebuilt them several times, and now you're adding pneumatics, right?
Yes.
Okay.
This is the pneumatic system uses air compression to trigger different actions as opposed to using electric motors, and it's become really beneficial for other teams to have on their robots. So we've kind of seen that. One of our teams has theirs set up already, but we kind of tore apart our robot after this last meet. This is probably our 2nd time doing that, and we're looking to get a new one up hopefully a couple weeks before state so we can get practicing. And yeah, we saw how effective they were with pneumatics, and we're working towards trying to get that on ours with a couple other changes that we have, and our robot should be significantly more effective. So.
Well, now is it March 2nd for the high school, for the varsity?
Yep.
So what's the, let's talk about the game. Describe the game. And again, as I've mentioned to people, it changes every year. The game's different every year. So just describe the game if you can.
So the games are generally pretty complicated. It takes a lot of time to kind of look into the rules and get the intricacies of it. But a general synopsis would be, it's kind of like soccer with robots, is kind of how we've been describing it. There's 2 nets on either side, and then we have these weird shaped, we call them tri-balls.
Yep.
So they have 4 points, and then they kind of just roll around really funny, and they're really hard to grab onto. And they sit around the field, and the goal is to get them under the nets. That's 5 points for every tri-ball you get under the net. But then each side is divided onto a color, so there's a red side and a blue side. And a tri-ball on the blue side is 2 points for the blue team, and vice versa with the red team. And then at the end, you can hang from these bars
Yep.
that are on the sides, and that's 20 points for the highest, 15 second highest, and so on down the line. There's 4 robots on the field at a time, 2 on each alliance is what they're called, so 2 blue, 2 red. And so yeah, you go around for, what is it, 2 minutes?
Minute 45. Yep.
Yeah, there's 15 seconds of autonomous, so
Yep.
just coded driving. Can't touch your controller, you can't drive it. The robot is coded to do something.
Which you guys do.
yeah.
You write
Yeah,
the coding
yeah,
for
you
it.
write the
We
code.
write
Yep.
the coding,
Yep.
and we've been fairly successful in that actually. It's kind of challenging to figure some things out, but we've found strategies that work for us, and we should have a way better autonomous going into state. We're working pretty hard on that once we get a robot up and running. But yeah, so that's the general idea, is that you
There's a-
get as many balls moved over to your side as you
And
can.
there's potentially 44 of those tri-balls that could be introduced onto the field.
Yes, so
So it
each
can get pretty
That's
busy
22.
and crowded
Yeah.
out there.
So there's bars for your color in the corner, and once you're touching those bars, you can load the ball directly onto your robot. But you have to be touching the bar, otherwise it's a disqualification. So yeah, each team gets 22 to load directly into the robot, and as the first 30 seconds of the match get pretty hectic. People usually load them and shoot them to the other side, and they're just kind of flying back and forth. So
Because they're standing on one side of the field and then shooting them to the opposite side of the field. So,
Right.
so they have the launchers that just shoot them across, shoot them, shoot them, shoot them. So yeah. It
Well,
works
again, if
pretty
you
good.
want to go to our website, go to Highlander Activity Network on YouTube, as we video streamed the Frozen Classic that we had here, and people can go back and watch it for yourself and watch what went on that day. And it was a long day, it was a fun day, and so if you want to get an idea of what the game is, because they were launching them, they were. I think joked once. Well, I think we found a new kicker or a new quarterback. That was launching them pretty good. I guess, Cullen, as you guys get ready, what are you tweaking now? What are you getting your robot ready for state?
So one of our teams, the jumping deer team, has been really successful, and it's really impressive to watch. They kind of found their groove early, and they've done nothing but improve, and so it's really great to see those guys doing so well. They found a strategy that works for them. They built a robot around it, and it's proving to be really successful. So our last meet, we actually had a pretty good strategy and a really good robot going into it. We struggled with some of the alliances we were in, and that kind of broke us down a little bit, but we really did have a good day, even if the actual qualification didn't show that. But yeah, so our robot then was designed to pick up the balls off the field, which no other robot there could do. They were designed to just load directly in with those preloads.
And at this last tournament, there was 55 teams from all over kind of the tri-state area. I mean, some schools drove for 4.5 hours to get to this tournament at UND, so it was a big one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so we could pick them up and then we'd shoot them directly off the field. That was our way of getting balls off the other side. So then we were able to keep the other team from scoring those ones, and we could get them under our net. And it was a really effective strategy, but like I said, we struggled with some alliances. It seems like we're a bad luck charm. We we kind of got there. We would get with the really good teams, and then the robots would break for that round, and
Right.
we were kind of left wondering what happened. So this time we're looking for something similar, except we're looking to incorporate pneumatics, because we saw that our shot was getting easier and easier to block as teammates other defenders
Yeah.
would just park in front of us. So the pneumatics are going to push the shooter like way up. So that no team's gonna be able to touch it, and they'll just shoot like that.
Okay.
And that's gonna give us a way to hang at the end too.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna incorporate, hopefully, what we're looking for, but this is kind of lower on the priority list is a way to, once again, load those balls directly in from the field. So that's our strategy, building this brand new robot. We still have our robot from the last meet standing, just in case we run into major complications.
Right.
But it's looking pretty good so far. We've made a lot of progress in a little time, so.
Well, hopefully other teams don't watch us, so we're not going to know what the strategies are. So we won't get too far. But Annette, too, you were talking about some numbers with this team and how well they're doing statewide and internationally too. You said there's something internationally with this group.
Yeah, that's with our middle school group
Middle
as far
school,
as,
yeah.
looking at, but our high school group, right now, our Kellen's team is rated 5th in the state for the skills, which is, it's like separate from the qualifying rounds. They have a skills where you're the only team on the field and you have your 2 minutes to drive and then a different 2 minutes for autonomous. And right now they're rated 5th in the state, and then our jumping deer is 6th in the state. So we're doing really well with our skills on that. We also have a skills competition for our junior high and our elementary, and those guys are doing fantastic. We've got our Roboducks is 1st in the state, Crazy Gorillas is 5th, Perpetual Chaos 6th, Cubism is 8th. So our 4 teams are all, in the top 10, and elementary, same thing. They've got 4 teams in the top 10. They've got 1st place, 2nd place, 8th, and 10th. So, I mean, and in the whole world, our middle school is 6% in the top 6% of the world of their standings in skills, so that's pretty exciting. So, and elementary is on page 8 out of 60 pages. That's all I looked up. So.
Yeah, page 8.
Yeah, so I think they're doing pretty good. That's in the whole world. So.
That is pretty good.
Yeah.
Get in the 1/8% or 1/8 of the paper of the magazine. But we got a member of the junior high team that are going to be joining us, and Emma Tufty, who works with the junior high, is going to come up here shortly. I guess final question for you, Annette, as you get ready for the state here, we got junior high elementary on the 24th.
Yep.
And then you'll have the varsity coming up on March 2nd. Where's it at, first off?
High school is at Red River.
Okay.
And elementary middle school is at the South Middle School in Grand Forks.
In Grand Forks. Just goals. Does this team set goals at the beginning of the year, and have they achieved them? Have they got to that where they wanted to be?
I think some teams have. I mean, the ones that are bringing home the championship trophies at these qualifying tournaments, yeah. But every single team has a higher goal. I mean, everyone wants to do more. They all, even the team that's top in skills, they're very concerned that they're not going to be the top in skills for state, and they really wanted to. So they're still working on their skills, even though they've got a lot of points. They're 10 points above the next team, but they said, but that's a North Dakota team, and what if they improve before state? So I think everyone just keeps moving their goals higher and higher.
Well, hopefully on March 7th, that first coach's corner after state, we'll have you back with maybe some hardware and.
That's the hope. Yeah, we were looking for. Hopefully, like we did last year, we're looking to alliance with each other at the end, and I mean that would be kind of the big goal. But hopefully, it's not too lofty. Is to get together and try and take home first there together. So
Yeah.
It's a great goal to have. We're going to talk junior high robotics coming up here. But Annette B, thank you for joining us. Kellen Weston, good luck to you guys in getting ready for state. And again, let's hope for some more numbers up on the banners here at the Hack.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Thanks. Thanks a lot, Pop.
We'll be back with more Coach's Corner here from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network. Back on Coach's Corner on the Highlander Activity Network, and we were just talking of varsity robotics. I'll move on to the middle school robotics team, and we're joined by Addie Tufty and Emma Tufty, and 14 in the middle school team?
Yes, we have 4 teams who've qualified for state. They're really excited about that because, those invitations don't come out necessarily till our last meet.
Right.
And so to have that is an exciting moment, and the teams are looking forward to our finals here at the end of February.
Yeah, that's coming up on the 24th, so it's the week before the varsity. Now, Addie, what got you involved in robotics? And first, how long have you been doing it, and what got you involved in that?
I've been doing robotics. This is my 2nd year. I joined as a 6th grader, a little bit earlier than everybody else, from special invitation.
Okay.
And I was interested in it because I've always had. I would go to theme parks and I'd look at the big machines and I'd be like, I wonder how this works. And then I was like, here's my chance to try and make those machines. And I thought that was a good opportunity to have.
So 2nd year, and maybe stick with it for 5 more years, 5, 6 more years. But what do you like most about it? What I guess what's your biggest enjoyment in doing robotics?
The freedom of being able to build whatever you want.
Sure.
And probably just meeting new people at every meet.
Because with alliances, now correct me if I'm wrong, during qualifying, that's random, isn't it?
Correct. So our teams are, if they want to develop their game strategy, I might have a team that's matched up with another team they've never met from a school, whether it's in North Dakota or Minnesota. So it's really fun to watch them have to collaborate and develop ideas. And those alliances are going to change each time. Most tournaments that we go to, the teams are getting 6 opportunities for match play before we move into finals.
Okay. And her 2nd year, were you surprised when she wanted to join robotics?
I really wasn't. She's had an interest in robotics for a very long time and how things work. So the program was a natural fit, and I think it helped to push the idea that we really needed to take the step to move to develop an elementary program.
And we were talking about it a little bit here before we went on the air. They get interviewed, they have to put together a notebook or a
Yes.
journal that they have to do. Is this also teaching us some skills that they're going to be using down the road?
Oh gosh, I think Addie could talk to you about what's gone into being able to qualify for 4 design awards this year. Can you tell them a little bit about that?
Yeah.
So, robotics is not just about the competing and building the robot. Our team this year has found that instead of having an amazing robot that is on the top teams, we usually still qualify for finals. We found that our knack this year is having a unusual interview that tops all the others and having a journal that is a lot better than what they would expect it to
Okay.
be.
Is the game the same?
So with our VEX IQ program, the field looks a lot different than the high school. So we haven't had a tournament here in town, so I can tell you a little bit about the field. So in one corner of our field, we have the supply zone. It's going to have red and purple blocks. Those are 2 different sizes. And then in the other 3 corners, there's red towers. And the goal is to be able to put blocks into those towers. Now there's lines of green blocks on the field. There's some green and there's some purple intermixed, and then there's red ones. So each of those different blocks have a different point value. So the teams are really also being asked to develop their own game strategy to figure out what they want to do. And then as our teams are finding as they get prepared for state, it's what do we want to do, but what can we do depending on who we're paired with in those alliances.
Okay. Now, what do we have here? Explain this contraption is what I'm calling it.
So this is our robot we've
Yep.
been using for this season. It went through lots of different designs and ideas. And then, we figured since green blocks are the smallest blocks on the field and there's lots of them, they cover the field. And we found that we'd rather be able to pick up lots of green blocks and store them in our robot and then dump usually 8 at a time in one field goal, which rewards lots of points.
Are you going to do any revamping or changing here before, in 2 weeks before the state meet, or no? Or you like what your robot does and you're comfortable with where it's at?
I like what it does, but we're going to have to replace some rubber bands because they're breaking a lot.
And there's also some maintenance done during meets.
Yes, so one of our teams at our last competition was poised to win the teamwork championship, and unfortunately the axles and the motors separated, and so their entire robot stopped working. So when we talk about those life skills that we're having to learn at competitions, to watch, because we only have 60 seconds, so to watch your entire game strategy, all the work you've done for a particular day, kind of go up in smoke when parts fail. I think there's a lot of people in the real world that would say that that happens to them too. So we've got some strategies in place that teams put together, some checklists so they're prepared, and are working through the maintenance changes that they need to make.
Do you feel you work well with your teammates too, Addie?
We work pretty well, but sometimes we have some disagreements about what to do
Which
and
isn't
how
a
to
bad
change
thing.
things.
Well,
Yeah, it's not a bad thing.
the unique thing about the junior high team, Paul, is that each of these teams have designed their own robots.
Okay.
So these are original designs. So if you can imagine having to work with a group of peers to come up with a concept to address a problem, and be able to come up with who's going to drive, who's going to be our programmer, is someone going to document our process, how are we going to handle, basically they have media inquiries every day when they're at competition, when they're doing their interviews to be considered for awards. So there's a lot of moving pieces, so that teamwork really becomes an important part.
What's your strength, Addie? What do you think? What's your part on the team? Or do you do everything?
I do a lot of different things, but the main thing I do is making sure our journal is filled out every day,
Okay.
adding new things to the journal, updating old things, and then if teammates have struggling, something maybe snapped off and they don't remember where it went, I'll try and help them and get it fixed. And I usually am also the main driver for our competitions.
Because that journal's like a blueprint.
It is. So a well-designed engineering design notebook has drawings in
Right.
there so that someone could rebuild the robot, and then has discussion about what your game strategy would be.
Okay. You confident getting ready for state now, Addie, that you guys are going to do well?
I mean, I think we'll do okay, considering the last competition went a whole lot better.
Yep.
We were averaging like 63 points per match, which is on the higher spectrum of points that
Okay.
you would see at a meet usually. But I'm more worried about making sure our interview and our journal is ready for that, because I've noticed some things we need to change about that, some things judges might not like that we say or put in our journal.
Well, again, it's just like the varsity. Hopefully on that Wednesday after state, we'd have you guys back on and talk a little bit about a state championship or just a well-done state meet.
Yes.
It'll be the first for the elementary.
It'll be the first for the elementaries, so I mean, we've got teams who are really excited. The nice thing as we move into state is that we are holding the tournaments at the same time, but in terms of scoring and rankings, they're two separate tournaments.
Sure.
So the elementary will get to see who rises to the cream of the crop in terms of those grade 4 through 6th graders, and then the middle schoolers will see who rises there.
Well, we'll see who. Well, the cream always rises to the
Yes,
top.
it does.
Doesn't it? Well, guys, I appreciate you coming by and joining us tonight. We look forward to talking one or two more times as we get closer to state. But Emma Tufte, Addie Tufte, ladies, I was going to say guys, ladies, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more Coach's Corner here from the Hack on the Highland Activity Network. Back here on Coach's Corner on the Highlander Activity Network, and you know, today is National Women and Girls in Sports Day, so we have the coach of the girls basketball team joining us, Jimmy Howard. How you doing, Coach?
Good.
Coming off, you've been a couple of road games here, if memory serves. Last 2 times out, Lisbon and Central Cass. We talked about this last week. Lisbon could have been that trap game, but looked like your team came out ready to go.
Yeah, you know, we started out a little bit slow, missing some shots and things like that, and they played hard at home right away, and it was kind of back and forth, and I was like, oh here we go, like it's going to be just one of those games, but we really focused down the stretch, and then we're able to get a big lead and eventually running clock and secured the win.
Getting over that hump, that you just needed to get over that hump.
Yes.
And you did. And then you had Central Cass on Monday on the road, and good crowd. I mean, that they love their basketball in Castleton, that's for sure. And again, team played well against a very good, a young team, but an improving team.
Yeah, they've played really well this season. They've been a little up and down as, you know, they lost their 5 starters from last year, so they got a whole new group stepping in. But they've had some games where they've played really well, and they've had some games where they've struggled a little bit. You know, not so much different from us in previous years. So, but at home, you knew they were going to come after us,
Right.
and it was a big game for them. You know, we're playing to try to get the 1 seed, and the teams we're playing are trying to secure that 3, 4, or 5. You know, they want to be in that upper part of the bracket as well. So, you know, we had to play well, and I thought we did really well. We got some foul trouble, and some other players stepped up, and our defense really picked up and helped secure the win.
Your bench really has been a very important cog in the success of this team this year, hasn't it?
Yeah, you know, Katie Burchell off the bench has been a fantastic sixth man for us. Madison Anderson, Kaylee Nielsen have both played some major minutes for us, and in different games have been a big spark plug for us. And then Katie Koka's helped us in a few different games and situations where we can take her skill set, which is primarily a defensive player, and use her to try to slow somebody down or stop somebody from scoring.
Right.
So, you know, and then any points she gives us in a game are just our bonus for us. So, yeah, we've been able to maybe dip a little deeper in our bench this year than we have in the past, and it's really been helpful.
Yeah, the Mogan girl from Watford City had 20 points in 3 quarters, didn't score in the 4th because Katie was on her.
Yeah, you know, that, and maybe she picked up her 4th, but I thought our team defense, like in that, and then Katie just making it difficult. You know, she's extremely quick, a lot stronger than maybe people think, and she's able to stay in front of a lot of people, and I think that kind of threw her for a loop as well when she saw her on her.
Has this team done anything, as you just look what they have done so far, that you go, I didn't really expect that out of this team, or has this team played kind of the way you expected they could?
I would say we've played the way I kind of expected. I didn't realize that maybe Katie Burchell was going to have as big of an effect this year, being her first year at the varsity level. A lot of teams don't have that player that we have with her in that post presence. A few teams we've seen have, but not very many. Did I think how we were going to play was going to translate to as good of a season as we were having this year? Probably not right away. Looking at teams and how good they've been in that Class B and trying to be respectful of those teams. Like, yeah, we've been playing those bigger schools, but some of these schools are very good, and you know, they keep grinding. And yeah, we've had some hiccups here and there, but they keep working, and they've bought into. It doesn't matter whose night it is, just as long as we can figure out how to get a win as a team, and I think that's really carried us a long ways this year.
And you do have some players that you want them to have the ball in certain situations, but I think against Central Cass, Tess Olsen scored the last bucket in all 4 quarters. Is she one of those players you want her to have the ball in a crucial situation?
She's one. We have a couple others, but she's really good at driving, creating. She can be physical with that. And then we like to use Drew kind of on the same side as her, because Drew usually has to pull a defender because of her three-point shooting. Not that Drew can't drive and take somebody off the dribble, but it's kind of nice to be able to put that shooter in the corner, force a defender to make a choice. And if Tessa can get downhill, you know, if that defender steps in, it's a kick out for an open 3 usually, or if they stay off, Tessa's strong enough to get to the hoop and score. So we really like those two, you know, we have a play that those two really run well. Depending on the game, Katie Burchell getting some touches inside in crucial situations when we just need a bucket. She's really good at drawing a foul or getting a 2-point basket. And I thought Tessa stepped up last game. Drew being in foul trouble and having to be on the bench a little bit more than normal. And it's just one of those games, you know, we've had other players in foul trouble, and that was that night that she just always seemed to be in the wrong place at the wrong time for a foul. And you know, I didn't think Tessa forced it. I thought she played to what the team gave her and picked her spots and was efficient.
And Katie can hit the free throws too. If she gets in line, she's a good free throw shooter. Yeah,
that's a huge benefit. You know, against Devils Lake, we shot free throws really well. Lisbon, we shot free throws pretty well. Central Cass, we made them when we needed to. I don't know what our percentage was in that game right offhand, but it seemed like for a little while we weren't making some, but we made them down the stretch when we needed to. And I thought we showed some maturity at the end. We get a steal, Greta Govan gets it, has a layup, dribbles it back out. They're trying to foul. We move it so they can't get us, and then we hit Tessa in the paint for a layup. And now we got 2 more points, and we didn't stop the clock. So before, Greta might have taken that layup, or somebody else might have, or we might have held it and waited for the foul. Right. And so I thought that showed a lot of maturity as we've grown throughout the season.
1 game left of regular season with Northern Cass here on Monday night, and they know what's at stake, don't they? The team knows what the end result can be.
Yeah, and you know, and Northern Cass is playing to get into that 3 seed. I'm sure they want some revenge from the previous game that we played them there, and they just came off a big win against Wahpeton last night for them, and so that was kind of like revenge game 1. And so there's a lot going on. It's going to be senior night, parents' night. Can we stay focused? Because really in this league, like if you don't show up every night, someone's going to beat you. And I think that's what makes it fun this year. Just knowing that you have to show up every night and you have to fight. And so the girls know what's at stake. I think it's been since the 80s that we've been this record, and so something that hasn't been done in 40 years. I don't know when the last time they had the opportunity to finish first. And so, yeah, we realize what's at stake, but at the same time, it's just a game that we need to keep ourselves focused on one at a time and not worry about kind of what is at stake.
And they've been pretty well doing that this year so far.
Yeah, you know, we've had to reel ourselves back in a few times and just try to stay focused. But, and I think that's been the biggest challenge, is not trying to be too excited over how well of a season they are having. You know, we haven't had a season like this, at least wins and losses wise, since I've been here. We've had some good teams, but it's hard not to let them get super excited about it and try to tame them back. And, you know, girls, we got this next goal in front of us, and I think we've done a pretty good job at that, and I think they'll be focused and ready to go on Monday.
Final question. We didn't have a chance to talk about this, but the junior varsity C squad, they've been playing really well. How is that, too, as a coach? You're seeing what's behind what you got now and what's coming up? Basketball looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, it's a big positive to see. We've got them all kind of playing the same style we're playing, seeing that it's working with all 3 levels. So that's really nice to know. Like, you know, when you're in college, you can recruit people to fit your system. We have right now kind of grades 8 through 12. They all are kind of fitting into the system we're trying to play right now. And I think the more they get used to it, you know, just the better they're going to become. That JV group has got a lot of confidence and a lot of good players, and they're going to be able to step in next year, hopefully, and be able to compete right away at a high level. And those 8th graders that will be freshmen, hopefully, will be able to help us down the line.
All right. Well, Monday night, again, we'll have C squad, junior varsity. No C squad?
No C squad.
That's right, because we played them here the other day, actually,
yes.
And won, by the way. But junior varsity, so 5:30, 5:45?
5:45, 7:15, I believe.
All right, so pack the hack. This is going to be a fun night.
Yeah, senior night, parents' night. Come out and give the girls your support, and the seniors that have put a lot of work in. And hopefully it should be a really good night.
All right, Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, and go Highliners.
Coach Jimmy Howard from the Highlander girls basketball. We'll talk boys basketball. That's coming up next on the Highlander Activity Network. Back here on Coach's Corner in the Highlander Activity Network, and switching gears, we got into boys basketball now joining us. We got a couple of the seniors here for Valley City. Zach Sikora, Carson Egger joining. Gentlemen, how you doing?
Doing good.
Wow, in unison. I love it. Have you been around together too long or something? I didn't get a chance to practice NAC here with the rec center today practicing, but I guess, Zach, I'll start with you. Just, again, overall, and Carson will ask you this question as well, how fun this year has been, and just the progress of this team from day one. I think we've won, 7 out of the last 9 games, and how this team has progressed here over the last couple of months.
Well, it's just been really exciting, just going in the gym every day with the guys and just finding that success that we might not have found years in the past. That can make it a lot more fun compared to the other years.
Yeah, and Carson, same with you. As a senior, too, your last year to be able to play like this and have this kind of success you guys are having.
Yeah, it feels good since we're in the games we usually are since this new 3-class system, so it's a lot more fun.
Now, last night, yeah, the Central Cass here the other night, getting a victory. That looked like it was a good crowd and kind of a rowdy crowd. And Zach, what do you think was a big key for you guys coming up with that W here the other night?
I think a big key last night was just how we shared the ball with each other and we were able to lock down on defense. We were able to stop their main scorers from scoring a lot of points like maybe we didn't in the first game, so we were able to score more and then win in that.
Well, the first game was the first game. The first time you played was our first game of the year. So how did you feel, Carson? You guys have improved from day one to what you saw last night.
I feel like we're always sharing the ball, and each night someone else is gonna get their points and stuff. So I feel like whoever it is, it'll be fine.
I was going to bring it up. You've got a couple of dunks last night, and you've had a few flushes, as I like to call them, during the year. That's kind of fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it feels good when those go down.
High percentage shots too.
Yeah.
I think the first one you tried this year, you missed.
Yeah.
But high percentage shots of getting those dunks. Zach, what do you think? You just like to spin in the lane and.
I'm not really much of a dunker, but when Carson dunks, it's a big momentum swing.
It is, yeah.
And it gets everybody riled up, so that's good.
Gets them going. What would you say is your signature move, Zach? I mean, I've seen you done spin moves. You do a little hesitation. What's your go-to move?
Well, I just like to think I can do a little bit of everything. It depends on the night. Some nights I can shoot better. Some nights I'm more driving in the lane. So it just depends.
And I know you've free throw shooting has kind of been something you've always been successful. I think you led the EDC in free throw shooting last year. Is that something you take pride in when you go to that line that you're going to hit those shots?
Yep, I just have the mentality that I want to be the one at the line and I want to be the one to make it. So.
And for you, Carson, with this team, now you got Northern Cass coming up here on Thursday, if memory serves. Friday night. Friday night, I think, is the next game for us here at the Hack. What do we got to do to get a victory here next time around with the Jags?
I feel like we just gotta play solid and share the ball and play good D, and I think we'll win.
Do you guys worry about the standings at all? Is that anything that Coach McDaniel brings up, or do you just go out there, play, and not worry about that?
Well, we look at it a little bit, but we just try to focus one game at a time and just do what we can do at every possession, because every possession matters.
On both sides of the ball,
Yep.
defensively and offensively. Final question for you guys. What would you like to achieve here in the next month? What is the goal of this basketball team? Carson, we'll start with you.
Just win as much games as we can and get to state.
Zach?
Yeah, I agree. Just getting into state and having that opportunity that we might not have had in the past.
And that would be, it's been a long time since Valley City Valley City High School's had a team in the state tournament. Probably go before the 2000s, probably the last time it happened. And last question again for both of you. It's been a fun year. Overall, this has just been a fun year, hasn't it? As seniors, that you guys get to go out like this.
Yeah, it's been really fun.
So keep it going. You got lots more basketball to play.
Yep.
We're basically halfway through the season. Guys, appreciate you joining us. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Zach Sikora, Carson Egger, a couple of seniors from the Valley City Highlander boys basketball. We'll be back with more of our Coach's Corner here from the Hack on the Highlander Activity Network.
Look at you. Yeah.
Well, hey, we'll be talking strategy here. Thanks very much, Jaden. Back here on Coach's Corner on the Highlander Activity Network. And now we're going to get into wrestling. We're getting the varsity some time off because they're busy. We're going to talk express wrestling. Matt March, Ryan Conklin joining. Gentlemen, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing, Paul?
Probably the hardest working two guys in Valley City right now. I mean, you guys just like have a night off? I'm just curious.
Tonight.
And then I
Yeah,
make
then-
it come
then you
here.
called us,
I make
so.
it come here. Just, I guess, first question for you, Matt. Just what Express Wrestling has done all year, just as a year, the excitement this Express Wrestling has done.
Well, we started practice in December. We only had a couple kids compete at Rumble on the Red. We had one girl wrestle with the Grand Forks Gladiators team on their dual team. And then January 2nd, the first day the school came back, we were hot and heavy into our regular season. And so when we started with all the new kids, our level 1 and our level 2. So we got about, 2.5 hours of wrestling Mondays and Thursdays. Sometimes it's Mondays and Tuesdays.
Mm-hmm.
We have, I think, just got the last roster today. We have 86 kids registered, and we have over 30 girls registered.
I think that's one or two more than last year,
Yep.
if memory serves, with 86 and 30 girls. Wow, was the only thing I can think of.
Yep.
It's got to be one of the largest girls programs in the state as far as
It's
that
getting-
age group.
It's getting there. We have quite a few. Carrington has quite a few. Castleton does. Northern Cass.
Yeah.
Teams out in Bismarck.
Lisbon.
Lisbon,
has
oh,
quite a few
Lisbon,
girls,
yeah,
too.
yeah. I think they wrestle as soon as they're old enough to walk,
Yeah.
and they throw a singlet on them and put them on the mat. But Ryan, with you was, and both of you gentlemen, your dads and coaches, and for you, Ryan, you got a varsity wrestler, you've got how fun it too is it how important it is for you to get your kids to really buy into not just wrestling in particular, but express wrestling and just doing what they're doing.
Yeah, Express Wrestling, teaches them a lot of just basic fundamentals of wrestling. So when they get to that high school level, they understand, tough matches and how to wrestle tough matches, and they just got a good foundation of moves to use, and they can take coaching and actually use it on the mat, and they can listen when they're wrestling to coaches yelling, and so it's pretty important, Express Wrestling.
Well, and the biggest thing you hit on, I think we've talked about this a lot, is the life skills that you get with wrestling. And there was a picture of a little express wrestler that lost and took second, I think, and there were some tears, but hey, now she's learning how to lose. And like I think I mentioned on Facebook, I feel sorry for the next opponent, because that next opponent is in for a world of hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know which picture you're talking about. She had a tough tournament that weekend, and next weekend she turned it around and took first. So.
That's what she turned around.
And she
took
turned her
first.
practice around too. So we had a little discussion that week, and so.
Well, it seems to me, and we've had this, I think it was last year when we had 4 families from Express Wrestling on. We had the Marshes, we had the Coglins, we had the Bulows, I think we had the Gubruds came on. How big is that too, Matt? Just the family aspect where you get the oldest is in wrestling, and then it's just like the siblings follow right in line.
It's a critical part, success breeds success, when, like with, I'll say Chase, Carter, Charlie, they're all 3 doing very well, Wyatt, Catherine, all doing very well. The Bulow family, all doing very well, and then when we go to tournaments, it's even more fun, if we have a hotel night where all the kids are in the pool, or we go out to eat afterwards, or we have, a pizza party in the commons area of the hotel or whatever. Even sitting together, the moms watching out for the other kids, fixing bloody nose or doing French braids for all the girls. It's a family deal. It's I don't know. It's kind of like a culture, if you want to call it that.
I was going to say it's a family culture, and with your kids, Ryan, and you too, Matt, you didn't have to push them, did you? They wanted to do this, or was there a little? Come on, give it a try.
Right away, Chase was excited to do it. He started in kindergarten, and then I don't know, first, second grade, he was kind of like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. But then, I don't know, he had third, fourth, fifth grade, and then he realized, he's pretty good. So then he really got into it and really enjoyed it. And then my other son, Carter, he was kind of into it just right away, and he loves it. And then my daughter, she took some years of kind of convincing to actually that she needs to practice a little bit harder and try harder. And then just last year, she started actually going to tournaments. So, yeah, they're all kind of little different in their motivation.
It's fun that you don't want them all the same. You got to have a little spice in life. And with Wyatt and Catherine, I suppose there wasn't a lot of pushing with those two.
No, Catherine, there's not a whole lot of pushing. It's a little bit more encouraging. I have to coach my daughter a little bit differently than I coach my son.
Right.
So they both love doing it. They both excelled at it. They've both been successful at it. And what I think all the kids have learned the last year with the growth. The first year me and Ryan took over from Tim Miller. What do we have, 30 kids total?
Yeah, maybe 35.
35 total.
Now we're getting more than that just go to one tournament on a weekend.
Yeah. So, I mean, I lose 10 pounds on a weekend just running around the wrestling mat. But
Wait, go ahead. I was going to say, you mentioned tournaments.
Yep.
You're at least every Saturday and Sunday. The commitment level, too.
Yep.
Does that surprise you, how these people, these families and these wrestlers in particular, are committed to doing this?
No, I know you've heard Aaron and TJ say this, but success breeds success.
Yeah.
When the kids go to the tournaments, like that Aberdeen tournament, and then the tech team, we had a lot of kids that took first place, and obviously we took third as a team too. There was a lot of pins.
Yeah.
I had to pick 10 kids that I thought were gonna, pick up some team points. They scored it on team points, and I think we had 13 kids there, and they all wrestled very well, every one of them, compared to 2 weeks ago. They all improved. We kind of upped the pace of practice a little bit. It's not, they're talking about it. They just got their new T-shirts. I see them walking around town or whatever. They all got their T-shirts on. So.
And it was third out of 23 teams, I think.
Third out of 23 teams. There's 23 separate teams there that day.
And took third out of those 23. And I know we were in Webster, South Dakota. And this is all last weekend. Redfield, South Dakota. There's a lot of miles put on the old car, isn't there?
Yeah.
Hope you get good mileage. But again, the Big Cat, that was in Bismarck here last Sunday. I had a first and a third. I guess all around, Express Wrestling is better than it has been in a long time, hasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have been around Express Wrestling, not as coaches, but just, how many years? And this is exploding.
Yep.
Really, and that just helps the varsity because it's that feeder program. You and I talk about that all the time.
Right. Yeah, it's the feeder program for the high school, and this year our dual situation's a little bit. I don't know what you call it.
It's kind of down.
It's young.
Yeah, we have two kids who are studs in Ethan Miller and Colton Griebel who wrestled in Express, and then our other juniors and seniors on the team. They might have wrestled a few years in Express, but then they took a bunch of years off when they got to high school, and then they came back out. So some of them are doing okay, but if they would have stuck with it from when they started in Express, they'd be in a lot better shape right now as a dual team.
And even like with the Express dual team too, like we have Chase in 8th grade, Zach, Bowen, Simon, Brady, all those kids, they were our dual team for, at the state youth tournament last year, and they've obviously moved on, so it's going to be real exciting in a couple years to see this pick up again. Yep. Where Valley City's going to be back on top of the mountain. So. Yeah,
because we mentioned it when we wrestled West Fargo the other night. For the longest time, that duel, West Fargo and Valley City, was for first place in EDC. Yep. Both teams are a little down this year, but yeah, you look at the roster and you go towards down the bottom, 7th grade. There's a whole lot of 7th graders that were Expressed last year, and now getting a taste of the big show, if you will.
We got some really good 6th graders, in Carter and Callan and Catherine Russell and Jaden Greer coming next year. And we got a good group of 5th graders and some really good 4th graders that are, really taking hold to it. So and a whole bunch of third grade girls. So, I'm guessing in a couple years we're gonna have a full Highlander girls dual team. So,
which is
that's gonna be
phenomenal.
momentous.
That'll be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of girls, of course, we were saying this is National Girls and Women in Sports Day. Wrestle Like a Girl. When is that coming up?
February 27th here at the Hack. We have 6 teams this year. Last year was 5 teams. Last year got postponed twice.
Yeah.
Obviously, this winter's treating us a little bit better, but yeah. It'll be Valley City Express girls, the Carrington Pit Crew girls, Castleton Crushers, Lisbon Broncos, the Jamestown Taz, and we invited the Wahpeton Breck Storm girls this
Okay.
time. So we're expecting about 100 girls, K through 6 right now. If we're kind of expecting 100 girls, and it'll be similar to last year. 2 mats in the Hack, split in half. We have a little gift for them. There's no trophies that night. It's just we got a gift for them that's going to say "Wrestle Like a Girl" on it. Last year we had the blankets.
Yep.
And I asked all the club coaches to send some of their high school girls with to kind of be some bench buddies or mentors, for the girls to,
Yep.
to grow the sport of women's wrestling.
And our 6 that we have, what a phenomenal group of wrestlers we have. No injuries have kind of struck them here a little bit as of late, but it wasn't a meet here not too long ago. 4 of them competed, and we still took 12th out of 40 teams.
Yeah.
And that was varsity. I mean, that's across the state of North Dakota. And then your Express tournament, that'll be in March.
Yep, our Express tournament is March 16th. It'll be the second time Ryan and I put on a tournament. Last year it got canceled, obviously. The winter messed with it, but so it'll be March 16th here at the Hack. Expecting 350 kids here, and it's K through 8. So we're gonna have the 7th and 8th graders wrestling because obviously that's after their high school tournament. So
That's a Saturday, if memory serves.
yep, it's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday, and the 27th is a Tuesday night.
It's a Tuesday night. Yep.
Okay, so again, we'll be having coverage on the Highland Activity Network, and but come on out. I mean, don't sit home and watch it. Come on out and watch it.
It's pretty cool.
It's fun stuff.
It's cheap admission. Come get some pizza from the concession stand.
Yeah.
Watch the future of Highlander wrestling right in front of you.
And then follow them, and what they do here over the next half dozen years or so. As Highland Wrestling is in pretty good shape and pretty good hands with the crew that we have, not only in the varsity wrestling room, but you two and the guys that you have, the parents that you have helping you. How big is that, having the moms and dads that just assist you guys in what you have to do?
Yeah, we got some really good parents that really help out. We go to tournaments, and sometimes you go to tournaments and they want you to provide table workers. I got a couple moms that I always call on, and they'll be like our track wrestling computer people, and then I got a couple dads who know nothing about wrestling, but they got coaching certificates just so they can get on the floor and just be mat side with kids if they need just like an adult there to just say encouraging things to them when they wrestle. So that's always kind of nice.
And with the growth this year, we also have some new dads with wrestling background that, a couple of them have taken the certification class now, and a couple more are on the radar. I just learned about another one today that's got a wrestling background. So me and him, we have a discussion tomorrow night.
We're going to be chatting.
Yeah. So,
And again, if folks want to know anything about Express Wrestling, you got a Facebook page, and you keep that thing updated almost hourly, I think, with
Daily.
with what's going on with it. And it's a VC Express or
Valley City Express Wrestling.
Valley Express Wrestling on Facebook, and check it out. But again, Wrestle Like a Girl coming up here on the 27th, on Tuesday night, February 27th, and March 16th, the Express Wrestling Tournament. And should be fun. I mean, it's fun time of year. And then you're done, aren't you?
We have the
Quote,
state
unquote.
tournament, and then Ryan's working on it right now. We have a big dual tournament coming up in Carrington
Yeah.
where they actually have a girls dual division. So
Yeah, in 2 weeks there's a kindergarten to 4th grade team, a kindergarten to 6th grade team, and a girls team that's kindergarten to 8th grade. No, kindergarten to 6th grade, sorry. Yeah, we're going to put together all 3 teams, and I already got a bunch of parents who told me their kids can make it, so we should have a full 3 teams up there. And last year we did it, and we had a lot of success.
it's a lot of fun.
I would do it every year, actually.
And that's coming up here when?
Couple
of weeks?
24th.
Yeah.
24th. So, a couple of weeks coming
Yeah.
up. And we'll have to check on the Facebook page and see how things played out there. But again, gentlemen, it's been fun, and I appreciate you joining us and talking wrestling. It's always great when you guys join. And Express Wrestling is the future. 86 kids signed up, up about 100% from the last, from what, 5-6 years ago.
Yep, and I'll add, we got BCN kids, we got Maple Valley kids, we got a girl coming from Jamestown now to wrestle, just because of the amount of girls that we have in our room, and it's pretty awesome.
It's great stuff. I mean, just you love to see the growth of youth sports, no matter what it is. But if it's helping the varsity program, I know Trevor and Aaron going, keep it coming, boys, keep it coming. Right. We like what we see.
Well, they challenged us a couple of years ago to keep sending them as many hammers as we can. So,
and
we're trying.
It's work in progress. Yeah. All right, Matt March and Ryan Coughlin, gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
From Express Wrestling, we'll be back and wrap things up here, Coach's Corner, on this Wednesday night on the Highland Activity Network. And back here on the Highlander Activity Network as we wrap things up on this Wednesday night. Again, always wrap things up. We tell you what's coming up. We've got basketball Friday night. The Highlander boys taking on Northern Cass, C Squad, Junior Varsity, 4:15, 5:45, 7:30. And then Monday, February 12th. Yes, we'd love for you to watch it on the Highlander Activity Network, but we'd love even more to come here to the Hack. And let's fill the Hack. If the girls win that game against Northern Cass, they will be the #1 seed in the Region 1 tournament, and they would get a bye in that first round, which means 2 wins, and they are state tournament bound. So let's have the Hack loud, noisy, and a fun atmosphere. Senior night, parents' night, as we honor our 3 seniors, Drew Potratz, Hadley Thorson, and Tessa Olson on that Monday night. And that will be, again, just junior varsity and varsity, 5:45 and 7:15, 7:30. Last piece of information, just congratulations and welcome to Cynthia Clabo. She has now been named as the new volleyball coach for Valley City. And of course, a lot of people know Cynthia, a teacher, science teacher here at Valley City. She's worked with JO, she's worked with junior high volleyball, and has been a big part of volleyball in Valley City for many years. And now will be the head coach of the Valley City varsity. That just was named here yesterday. And so we welcome Cynthia Clabo to the coaching ranks. And I've already emailed her and texted her and said, all right, you're now on the radar to get on Coach's Corner. So we'll be probably chatting with her in the coming weeks. And again, welcome her to the coaching ranks of varsity athletics here at Valley City. Well, that's going to wrap things up on this busy night of Coach's Corner. And I want to thank Annette Beatty and Kellen Westman and Addie Tufte and Emma Tufte from robotics. Jimmy Howard from Valley City Girls Basketball, Zach Sikora, Carson Eggert from Boys Basketball, and of course, just joining us here at the end, Matt March, Ron Coughlin from Valley City Express Wrestling. Jane Johnson, our camera operator, technical director, producer, and all-around great guy, joining us as well. And appreciate all of you that join us on Coach's Corner on YouTube. We'll be back again next week, 6 o'clock here at the Hack. That's Coach's Corner on the Highlander Activity Network.